When he finally comes running back to you, how are you going to ensure that this time will be different? If he has no intention of actually changing, then how is anything going to change in your relationship? This is exactly why you need a foolproof strategy to avoid looking like a goof, which is why on today's show, we're going to be discussing the 7 most important things to do when a man comes back to you. That way, you can avoid getting played by the same guy twice. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome all of you beautiful souls. How are you doing on this? What's today? Today is Wednesday, okay? It might be Wednesday night for you. It might be Thursday morning for some of you. Good to see you. Okay, who we got up in the chat here? Of course, in the YouTube chat, we got Ashley. I believe Tina was first today in the YouTube chat. We got Ashley, one of the staples in the chat. Ivy, our beautiful YouTube member here. We got Enlighten, who's an OG. I see Sweet. I see who else. We got Coco and lots more. And of course, we got Missy America holding down our YouTube chat as our moderator. Over in the TikTok chat, I see we got Brianna here. I see we got SH here. I believe Sharice is here as well. Is Scotty here? I didn't see Scotty's name. I see Fatima. I see Ola. Welcome all of you beautiful souls. I'm so glad to have you here. And you know we're gonna get hop right into it and we're gonna discuss along the way. Okay, so first things first, okay? I'm going to get mean today. It's like we're going to have fun, but I'm going to be a little bit mean today because I really want the strategy to soak in for you. First things first, you need to close your store, okay? Very important. You need to understand, okay, from the get-go, you need to understand the likely things to happen in a scenario like this. We discussed this yesterday when I was talking about the different reasons a man will come back to you. You also need to be hyper aware of those reasons so that you can know what to avoid. The reason I say close your store is because you want to avoid putting yourself in the horrible situation in which you go back to a man or you allow a man to come back to you. And he comes back to you, but not in a full capacity, meaning you guys aren't officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Now you're kind of like doing a thing where you're working on a thing, but you're kind of still like his girlfriend because you still act like a girlfriend, but you're not really together. So he kind of gets to do what he wants in his spare time and everything's confusing. Okay. And the reason I say close your store, Madison just said, what store? I'm going to explain to you the store. The reason I say close your store is because you need to shut down everything that you were offering that man when he was your girlfriend. You close your store. You're not offering anything anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the reason I say close your store, this is going to encompass a lot of different things that you're going to be closing down. You're closing your business because you don't want to fall into the trap of allowing him to come back without the actual proper commitment or the proper intention to make a change or make an adjustment. And then he gets to have the same amount of access to you that he did when you guys were in an official relationship. However, now it's just not an official relationship. Right? Because the downgrading thing is the absolute worst thing that can happen to you, where you've now allowed a man back into your life. But at least when there was drama and there was a whole bunch of situations, you both understood we're in a long-term serious relationship. So you're my boyfriend and I'm your girlfriend. So we live underneath those standards and expectations. So when you do something wrong, it's understood that you did something wrong because if we're boyfriend and girlfriend, there's certain boundaries that you can't cross. The thing is, when he comes back to you and there isn't clarity about what's going on, there isn't clarity about the title, there isn't clarity about the direction or what you guys are building here, because he's come back to you and you're trying to work back to get to somewhere, right? That's what they'll say. We're trying to get back to where we were. What's going to happen is you're going to forget in your mind, oh my God, there's no actual title. Oh my God, there's no actual boundaries here or standards or expectations because I forgot that we actually broke up, even though I'm talking to the same person and they still feel familiar to me. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're back in a relationship. So now he can actually go out and build new relationships with new people while I sit on the sidelines thinking that this is the same relationship that I was just in, but it's not. right? It's a very easy place for you to become confused. And like I always say, the only person that loses when things are confusing in your relationship is you, because you're giving yourself to that man. And in the process, he's exploring other relationships with other people. It can be very painful. Okay. So when I say close your store, I'm specifically talking about two very important things. Number one, I need you to close your legs. Okay, this is not for it to be mean to you, but I do understand that obviously when you grow an attachment and you grow a relationship and you grow your intimacy with one particular person, they feel familiar to you, they feel like home to you, you become accustomed to being with that person in an intimate sense. So when he comes back to you after a month, after 2 months, he still feels familiar to you. That's not crime, okay? But what I want you to understand is if you're going to do this the right way, meaning if you're going to have him come back to you, but actually make a change and actually make an adjustment so the same thing doesn't just happen over again, then you need to be making sure that you identify that you are not giving him things that he was receiving from you as a wife or girlfriend. Okay, wifey treatment, girlfriend treatment, however you want to describe it. Okay, so the very most important thing is you need to close your legs, because as we mentioned yesterday, very important. If you didn't watch yesterday's show, you have to watch yesterday's show because it directly applies to everything we're talking about today. It was just about the reasons. One of the reasons we discussed yesterday is guys are going to come back in seek of personal pleasure. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? They want personal pleasure because they realize that having easy access to you is not something that they can go out into the world and just obtain easily. They're going to have to do a lot of work. They're going to have to like a lot of Tinder profiles. They're going to have to respond to a lot of prompts on Hinge in order to get that access to that Squirtle that he was easily getting from you. So a lot of guys come back to you for the purpose of being able to continue getting personal pleasure. So that's one of the number one things you need to be shutting down. You close your store. It's closed for business, not open anymore. You can't purchase anything from here anymore. Okay. It's not available for order. Right. And you close your store, meaning you close your legs so that he doesn't get an opportunity thinking that, oh, I'm going to come back to you, say a couple of nice words, say some things that I know you want to hear that's in line with your Disney princess theme that you want to be, and make you feel good, and then go back to being able to sleep with you or having access to you that easily with just a few words and just a little bit of sweetness and kindness. You understand what I'm saying? You need to make it clear that if he is going to come back, because this is all what you're trying to do here. What you're trying to do with this whole strategy here is you're trying to determine, are you here present with me because you're trying to actually make an adjustment, make a change, and grow our relationship into a better version of that relationship? Or are you coming back to me just because your ego's hurt, or just because you realize things aren't as the grass isn't greener on the other side, or you can't get access any better bees than me? And now you're coming back to me because you just want to now you finally appreciate me now that you've realized you can't get anything better than me, type of thing. And you're basically trying to ensure, because if he's only coming back to you because he can't get better somewhere else and he has no real intention of changing, he just wants to continue doing the same thing he's been doing with you, then you're not going to see any different result. And this is why I said in the intro, you end up getting played by the same guy twice. You don't want that. We don't want that for you in any capacity. Are you following what I'm saying? So very important that number one, in closing your store, that you close your legs. Now, number two, the number two thing that you're going to close, this is still point number one in closing your store, but the second thing that you're going to be closing is you're going to close down that wifey treatment. Okay. You're going to close down that girlfriend treatment, meaning when he comes back to you, you do not hop right back into giving him the same type of wife and girlfriend treatment that you were giving him when you guys were in an official relationship. That is a privilege, not a right. Okay? So you give him no wifey treatment. There's a very important particular reason why I say that you don't do that, because this is the thing. You have to understand, you were giving those things to those men. It's not a crime to give those things to your boyfriend or your husband, but you were giving him those things because there was commitment in the relationship. That was like part of his reward. He got more of you because he was committed to you in this relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a give and take process. You have to understand when he comes back to you after you two have broken up, you have to understand that you cannot be giving the same amount you were giving when there was commitment on his part as well, when there was effort on his part as well, when there was investment on his part as well. Him coming back to you and saying, yeah, I really like being in a relationship with you and I really like spending time with you. You think we could just do the same thing over again? That is not investment. Those are words. Investment is action. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? And you cannot fall victim to thinking, oh, I should just go back to giving him the same amount of wife treatment, the same amount of girlfriend treatment that I was giving him in the very beginning. That's not going to work for you. All that's going to make him realize is, oh, I came back. I was once her boyfriend and she was giving me wife treatment, but that required my commitment. Now I'm back. And I'm not actually technically her boyfriend. This isn't technically a relationship. We're hoping to get back to where we were. But if I just say nothing and do nothing, I'll continue getting the same wife treatment, the same girlfriend treatment, and maybe I'll never have to ever commit to her. Let me be quiet. Let me just not say anything. Let me not even mention it. Maybe the longer I don't mention it, the longer I can continue getting that same treatment without putting forth that same effort. Okay, guys are going to attempt to do that. Like I say, they're going to attempt to downgrade you, and you can easily fall prey and victim to that when you hop right back into the relationship because he says a couple nice words to you, because he makes you feel good. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, good. You made me feel good. So now I'm going to give you the same wife treatment that you were getting from me when I was your girlfriend. But now I'm not actually your girlfriend, but you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about how good it feels to be back in this relationship. I want you to be very skeptical of guys that are going to come running back to you, trying to make it seem like, oh, everything is different now. And now I know that I'm ready to be in this relationship with you. Those are great words. Those are great phrases. That sounds good in a movie, but let's see if you actually are ready to make an adjustment and if you even know what that adjustment should be. And we're going to get to being able to identify if a guy knows that he needs to make an adjustment and is aware of what that adjustment is supposed to be. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Okay, so I want you guys to understand, very, very important. The first thing you need to be doing when a man comes back to you, you need to be closing up your store. And you need to make him aware as well that you're going to be closing up your store. Okay. So if he ever tries to say, hey, so, I was thinking you could come over and maybe we could watch a movie and maybe you could take your clothes off while you watch the movie and maybe you could put your legs behind your head while you watch the movie so that I can jackrabbit myself inside you for 90 seconds. You say, no, that's not what we're going to do. I'm not coming over to watch a movie. I'm not coming over to chill. I'm not even going to put myself in a place of temptation knowing that I'm weak in the first place. Okay. If you're actually serious about us growing back our relationship and getting back to where we were, let's focus on the emotional, because for majority of you, the issues were not intimacy. Okay. For majority of you. And let's focus on the emotional or the psychological, mental, whatever the issues were that you were facing in the relationship. Let's focus on those. The intimacy can come when we've worked on those, worked and massaged those out, and we're back in an official relationship. Other than that, you're not going to be getting that same level of access to me. And you should be making that very clear to guys, because I guarantee you, as soon as they hop back into your life, they're going to expect that same level of access. And they're going to be hoping and praying that you don't realize that there's no actual commitment there. Okay, are you following me so far? So, Ivy donated $10 early. Wow, what an early donation. I appreciate that, Ivy. Ivy says, what if it's a situationship? If it's a situationship, and let's say this guy is coming back to you, the same thing applies. The exact same thing applies. You need to identify if this was a situationship and this wasn't working out for whatever reasons that it didn't work out. And we're going to go through all of that part because it's part of the strategy. If you're identifying that and you know that, and he's not aware of that, he doesn't know why it didn't work out, and he doesn't know what things need to be implemented in order for you and him to see a change, then that means there will be no change. Okay, there has to be not just the intention to change. That's good. There first has to be, even before the intention to change, awareness of what the change required is. If he's not aware of what the change required is, then how can there even possibly be a change made? Okay, so the same thing applies if you're in a relationship or a situationship, because at the end of the day, either one of those versions of a relationship didn't work out for a reason. So if he's gonna come back to you and you guys both want this to work out, there needs to be changes made. Are you following? Right? And both parties have to be of the right mindset and prepared to make changes. So closing down your store is number one. Number two, you need to have the ability to pinpoint your problems, or in other words, pinpoint the problems in the relationship, right? You have to be able to pinpoint the problems that you are having with this guy in this relationship, because this is very important. Okay. So I actually really want you to be paying attention. It's very important that you first pinpoint what the problems were in the relationship, so that you can be thinking in your mind, okay, if he's not on the same page as me, if he doesn't understand that these are the issues that need to be worked on, then we're not going to be getting anywhere in the first place. So you need to already have in your mind, I know what the issues are, whether maybe even in some cases it's on your side as well, and it's both parties, right? If you have to identify what are the issues going on in this relationship. That's point number two, Ashley, not point number one. I'm on point number two. Point number one just had an A and a B. Okay. So number two, pinpointing your problems is so important, because if you don't know what the issues are, and if you're not aware of what needs to be changed or adjusted, then you won't even have a clear understanding when he tells you what his intentions are and what he wants the relationship to end up as eventually, and what adjustments he thinks needs to be made. You won't even be able to identify, yes, you're correct. Those are the adjustments that need to be made. Those were the issues that our relationship was suffering from. Those were the reasons why we broke up in the first place. Okay. You need to have that clear understanding for yourself, because if you don't, then he's going to come back and just tell you a bunch of silly, random stuff that doesn't make any sense, that doesn't even apply to your relationship. So let me give you an example of what I mean when I'm referring to that. Okay. So let's say, for example, you're with a guy, and part of the reason your relationship ended was because he was constantly going out to the club all the time with his boys. Okay. He's going out, he's getting drunk, he's off that hen dog, he's off the Belvedere, he's off the Casamigos, and anytime he's off the Casamigos, he's got wandering eyes, he's going over to APs with his boys, and all these nefarious things happen. He's coming back home at 4 a.m. This does not work for you, and you're not going to be dealing with this with a man that is supposed to be committed to you. Okay, he's off that Casamigos acting a damn fool. Okay, let's say that was the reason why your relationship ended, or it didn't work out. He now comes back to you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I apologize for my behavior. I just want this to work out with us so badly, and I want to make sure that we can grow into our relationship, and I want to be with you, and I miss you, and I care about you, and I want us to work, right? You have to be thinking in your mind, one of the main issues, if not the main issue in our relationship, was you hanging out with your hoodlum friends, going out to the club, getting drunk, going to APs, and doing nefarious stuff. So if you have no solution for that, or you even first can't even identify that was the issue leading to the problems in our relationship, and I know that, then I automatically know you're not actually here to change anything or adjust anything or build any real relationship that's supposed to end up better. If you're just here to tell me that you miss me so much and you miss getting inside me and you miss spending time with me, that has nothing to do with the issues that were in our relationship or in our situationship. And if you're not here to discuss the issues we were having in our relationship and how those things are going to be adjusted or changed to see a different result, then you're not here for the right reasons. In which, in turn, then you then know I'm wasting my time entertaining you coming back to me. This is a waste of my time, because in the process of me entertaining you coming back to me, I'm only going to go through the same problems and the same issues that I just went through when we were in this relationship before. And now it's going to be worse, because I'm going to be wasting even more of my time, and I'm not going to have any commitment, and everything's going to be confusing. And this is just going to be a horrible experience for the second time, which will make it even that much more horrible. You understand what I'm saying? So you first need to be able to pinpoint your problems very, very, very clearly, so that you know if he's BSing you or not. Guys are going to come back. When they come back, they're going to hit you with a wave of emotion. I'm telling you this as a man, okay? I've done it before. Smart men, right? Intelligent men that know how to manipulate you and try to get what they want from you, they're going to come back and they're going to hit you with this wave of emotions by telling you all these sweet things. They're going to say everything to trigger you. They're going to make it nostalgic. We'll talk about nostalgia in a little bit. They're going to make it nostalgic for you. They're going to make it seem like they've missed you so much and they came to so many realizations of how badly they want to be with you and how much they want to make you a wife and how much they don't want anyone else but you, and it's going to feel so magical. It's going to feel so fantastical. You're going to feel like a Disney princess with a long, flowy dress. You're going to feel amazing. The problem with that, though, is that the guys are doing that on purpose. They want to hit you with a wave of emotion. So you're overwhelmed and you're not thinking about the situation logically or thinking about the fact that we actually ended our relationship for a particular reason. So if those particular reasons in which we ended our relationship haven't been solved, we are going to be in the same place in our relationship that we once were. Okay. I'm sure you guys have all heard the most famous quote from Albert Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if he comes to you and his only words to tell you is, yeah, I miss you so much. Yeah, I miss when you would have one leg up and one leg down, or I would hit it from the side. It was so good when I'd wake up in the morning and hit it from the side. Oh my God, your head game's so good. That doesn't do anything for you. That's not actually changing the environment, changing the situation so that things are actually different. It's the same reason why the guys come back and they only end up doing the same thing that they were just doing beforehand. And you're confused, like, how did I waste two relationships on you? I wasted the first one. It didn't work out. You came back and I wasted like a second relationship on you. A whole bunch of wasting time. Okay. And you don't want that, which is why you need to be pinpointing your problems first. Okay. So that you know what your problems are and the issues are in the relationship. So number one was closing your store. Number two was pinpointing the problems in the relationship. Now, number three is you got to stay single. Okay? Listen to me very closely. I know this is painful and I know this is not going to feel good and I know this is hard to do, which is why I want you to pay attention because I know how hard it is. You must stay single, and even more important, you must make it clear to him that you are a single woman, and if a man approaches you and is ready to take you out on a nice dinner date and ready to show you the world and ready to do anything for you and you find him interesting, you're going to allow him to take you out. You're going to be exploring other relationships. Okay, I want you to be paying attention because this is very important and I want you to do this the right way, okay? And I want you to approach this the right way. The reason I want you to do this and I want you to stay single and I want you to make it clear to him that you're single and openly exploring other relationships is not because I want you to get him mad and get him to say, okay, I'm going to date other people. I want you to put him in a position where he says to himself, okay, you are clearly moving forward. If I am not urgent in my response, in my reaction to you moving forward, I will lose you. Okay? So that means I am going to have to light a fire under my butt and I'm going to have to get to work making sure I fix and adjust myself to be more in line with what she's looking for, because if I don't, she will move on from me. In fact, she's currently in a position where she's actively dating and exploring other people. So if she's actively dating and exploring other people, well then, and I know that I want her because he came back to you because he wants you, you're in a position of power. This is why it's very important. Give him nothing when you're in a position of power. Okay? I didn't say that you have to go out. This is why I want you to be paying attention. I want you to be listening. Okay? Have your ears perked up. I want you to be paying attention because I didn't say go out and start sleeping with a bunch of other men. Okay? I didn't say distract yourself by drowning yourself in men. I didn't even say you necessarily have to go out on a bunch of dates. I just want you to make it clear to him that he does not automatically get you back in the same position that he had you as his girlfriend by simply saying a couple of words. No, you guys broke up. The relationship ended, whether it was you that ended the relationship or it was him that ended the relationship is over now. If he wants to come back into your life and have you in the same capacity that he once had you, he's going to have to do work for that. Remember I said you close up your store. If he wants your store to open back up, he's going to have to show you how badly he wants that store to open back up. Okay. It's very important that you structure it like this and you make it clear to him, you don't have me again just because you came back into my life and just because I'm allowing you to show me if you're serious. Okay. Don't let the guys in your life and the men that are coming back, don't let them confuse them coming back and you allowing them to show you if they're serious with them actually having you back. Okay? Ivy said ground zero, 100%. You want to make sure he feels and is perfectly clear on the fact that him coming back does not mean he starts off from wherever he left off in the relationship with you. He's starting from zero. Okay, that's very, very important. Okay, I know some of you, and the reason I said I wanted you guys to pay attention, because I know some of you get scared or nervous when I start telling you to make it clear to him that you're single, because you're thinking to yourself, oh, but if I tell him that I'm single, maybe he'll get mad or upset, and maybe he'll start dating other people. Maybe he'll start going out with other girls. Maybe he'll try to get his revenge on me and try to talk to other girls behind my back because he knows that I'm single and I'm not committed to him. Who cares? Who cares? He is the one that came back to you because he wants to be with you. It then becomes his job to show you if he's serious about that. So if he becomes jealous or angry that you're going to stay single until he proves to you that he's ready to build this with you, then that is a clear sign to you that he's not actually serious about making a change and working on this relationship or doing anything hard. Okay, he just wants to have you the same way he had you. And if he can't have you the same way he had you before, and he has to do any sort of work on that, then immediately he's going to go, oh, wow, I'm going to start dating a whole bunch of women too. I'm going to start going out with a whole bunch of women too. Then you get to say, cool, you're the one who wants me back. So I don't care. Go ahead. If you want to date a whole bunch of other women, that's perfectly fine with me. And you want to go out on a whole bunch of other dates, perfectly fine with me. But then don't waste my time. Why come back to me saying that you still want me and then saying how you're going to go ahead and date a whole bunch of other people and explore a whole bunch of new relationships? Okay, so then you have no intention of actually building anything with me. I told you before. I know when I say this, some of you get scared because you're like, wait, but why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. I told you before, if he is coming back to you, you're in a position of power. He wants something from you, right? Meaning that he wants access to you again. He wants to have you as a girlfriend again, right? If he wants something for you, you have all the bargaining power because you get to be able to tell him, if you want something from me, then you must do A, B, and C for me in order to get an opportunity at me. You're the one that wants me. If it's not that serious to you or you don't care that much or it's not that important to you, perfectly fine. There's other people who will gladly take on the challenge. But if you're saying that you want me, then there's a particular set of criteria that you have to meet if you're going to get me. You're in a position of power. Don't ever forget that, because a lot of you forget that you're in a position of power anytime a man comes back to you and you start thinking, oh, I immediately need to give myself and my all back to this man to prove that I'm also invested in this relationship as deeply as he's invested. No, you don't. You don't. He came back to you. You don't need to prove anything to him. Actually, this is his time and his opportunity to prove something to you. So never lose sight of that, where you start getting all discombobulated and thinking, well, I need to go back to being a wife. I need to go back to doing everything for him that I was doing before. I need to go back to being solely committed to just him. No, you don't got to do anything. Right? You can stay single, and if he doesn't like that, then maybe you should get it going, get to work on making sure he makes the necessary adjustments that are required of him in this relationship so that you'll actually want to be in this relationship with him, and he can actually prove to you that he's ready to build this relationship with him. Because the faster that he works on the things that are necessary to get you back as his girlfriend, you back as his wife, and he takes action upon those things, the faster faster you guys will end up back in a relationship. Okay. And so this serves a couple of purposes because he then gets a fire lit under his butt and he has some motivation to actually go back to having this relationship be in a status where you're officially together. That's the other thing that's very important. If he's coming back to you, you very quickly want to make sure, okay, if we're not a thing, then we're not a thing. If you really want us to continue being a thing and going back to being serious with each other, you have to show me you're serious. And only when you show me you're serious will you get the same amount of access to me that you once had. You have to keep something left, right, away from him that he can have motivation to escalate the relationship back to the point where it once was. You never want to put him in a position where he goes back to getting everything he was once getting, but without him putting in the same amount of investment or effort into the relationship, because then he's immediately going to say, I'm just going to leave it there and I'm not going to escalate the relationship any further because I'm getting everything I want without giving anything in return. You do not want men to be in that position. They'll take advantage of you. Okay? Am I making sense to you guys so far? Okay, very, very important. Bao Bao says, how do we address to him the fact that I'm single? Very simple. He comes back to you and he says, I want you so bad. I miss you. This is not working out for me with us not being together. And I want us to go back to being in a relationship. You say, cool. I'm glad that you've recognized that you want to be with me again. But I want you to understand we broke up and we're broken up. So as of right now, I am single. If a man comes across and he wants to go out on a date with me, I will entertain it if I like the guy. I'm just making you very aware of that. In the process of that, you can show me that you're actually ready to build this relationship. And if I see that you're serious, then we can work on some stuff. Okay? If not, I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing. And that's the simple way you present. See, the thing about it is, I know that this is why I say I know that it gets some of you nervous. The thing about it is, you don't have to worry about whether or not he approves of what you're doing, because at the end of the day, he wants something from you. So if he doesn't like that you're single, there's a good chance that he's coming back because it's something that he did. But even in the scenario that it was on both of your parts, and he still came back to you, and he's the one that wants you, like I said, you're still in a position of power. So you don't have to worry about him liking what you said. If he has a problem with you being single, he should get to work, go in and get going on making sure that he does everything required of him so that you're no longer single and so that he proves that he's invested in this relationship and you guys can go back to doing what you were doing. Okay, you basically put him in prove-it mode instead of you being in prove-it mode, chasing after him and chasing after his validation. Okay, this is why I say you're like starting anew with this man. So number one was to close your store. Number two, you have to pinpoint your problems. Number three, very important, was stay single. Number four, okay, this is the part where you have to be paying attention. Okay, stop pooping time, like Ivy said, or was it Ashley that said stop pooping time? This is stop pooping time. Okay, so sit up in your bed, start listening, and listen very closely. Number four, you need to gauge his awareness. Okay, this is super duper important. When I say gauge his awareness, remember at the beginning of this, I told you that you have to be pinpointing your problems. Okay, and the problems that you guys were facing in this relationship. I told you that it's very important to pinpoint those problems because there's gonna come a point in the relationship where he tells you he wants to get back together, all that good stuff, and we can come back to you. Now, you need to be gauging his awareness on, okay, you say that you want us to go back to where we were in our relationship and you want this to work out again and you want to build with me. Cool. That's words, but cool. Now, you want to be gauging his awareness by asking him questions because you need to be sure that are you even able to identify the reasons that our relationship didn't work out in the first place? Because if you're not able to identify the reasons that our relationship didn't work out in the first place, how can you have any sort of strategy or plan to make an adjustment or make a change so that we don't continue to see the same problems that we were once seeing in our relationship? it's super, this part, that's why I say I want you all paying attention to this part, and it's stop pooping time, because this part is so vital and so important to your understanding of what reason he's actually here for. See, if you pinpoint, for example, let's say you pinpointed, like in the example I gave, that the problem was he goes out with his buddies, he gets drunk with his buddies, and all his buddies do is want to hang out at the club, and every time he goes to the club and gets drunk, everything nefarious and strange happens, and he's out till 4 a.m. And that's one of the issues, is going to the club all the time with his boys. If he comes back to you and you're asking him questions like, okay, so you say you want to get back, but how are we not going to see the same issues as before? You're not gonna do the work for him. You're gonna ask him, how are we gonna not see the same issues that we did before in our relationship and just be in the same place? If he then says, well, we don't have to make any changes. I just know that I love you and you know that you love me. And this time it'll be different because we know how much we care about each other. I'm sorry, what? What does that even mean? We care about it. What type of adjustment or change is that? What type of strategy is that? We care about each other. We love each other. We want to be together. Well, that means nothing. Okay. And that should mean nothing to you when you hear that, because those are generic words, right? It's like a word salad, they call it, right? Those are the generic words that don't actually mean anything tangible. They just are meant to make you feel good about the situation and feel better despite nothing actually being better. Okay. Very tricky, very sneaky, but it happens a lot. You don't want to get tossed in a word salad. You're all confused and you just think, I guess things are better now because you said how badly we miss each other and how badly we want to be with each other. Okay. Because he's going to try to get you in a place where he said, girl, you know how much I miss you. Girl, don't you miss how we used to spend time with each other? And we used to be cuddled up, skin to skin. And I used to kiss you on your neck and kiss you on your ear. I know you love that ear thing. And I know how you enjoy how we be so close with each other. And I know how much you miss my touch. You miss my hands on your body, girl. That's all we need to work on. That's all we need to focus on. Once we get back to that, the touching and the feeling and being close with each other, everything will just fall into place, fall into place. And it'll all be fine once we're back together and once I'm back inside you, Jackrabbit, and myself for 90 seconds. Malarkey. It's a bunch of junk. It's a bunch of junk meant to get you emotional and overwhelmed, thinking that something will actually be different. There's no strategy there. There's no plan or course of action to actually make a change or to have something be different. Nothing. Okay? You can't do anything with what I just said. You can't do anything with that. Okay, so very important that you're gauging his awareness by actively asking him, and this is something that should be happening throughout the course of this coming back period. You should be trying to analyze, okay, so what do you think about our relationship and why it ended? What are some of the things that made the relationship not work out? What are some of the things that we were struggling with? What are some of the things that you think we need to work on, right? That's the other question that you really want to be asking him. After you ask him, what are some of the things that you think led to our relationship ending, you then need to go back and then ask him afterwards, okay, so if that's what you think ended our relationship, then how do you think that thing needs to be changed or adjusted so that things are different? How are things going to be different now? Okay. Like I said, you're not going to do the work for him, but if he doesn't have an answer for this outside of, things are going to be different now because they're just going to be different and we love each other so much, that does nothing for you. So, for example, in the example I gave about going to the club, if you ask him, okay, so yeah, you said that you identified that you were going to the club too much and getting drunk with your boys. So how are things going to be different now? You have the same friends and you like, what's going to be different now? And he says to you, well, when I go to the club with my boys and I get drunk with my boys, I'm just going to choose not to do the same thing. That's not a course of action. You're doing the same thing. You're putting yourself in the same position, in the same environment. How are you possibly going to make different choices while doing the exact same thing? Okay. A lot of guys are going to try to trick you by just saying, I'm just going to choose to do something different. This is where you have to start getting really smart and really intelligent. And this is what the Players Club will do for you. You'll become really smart and really intelligent and you'll be able to spot BS from a mile away. If I know that going to the club with my boys and getting drunk always leads to me doing something weird or strange with other girls on the cheating scale, whether it be actually cheating or just doing stuff that is very inappropriate, right? And my solution is either not going to the club, not drinking anymore, or maybe even changing my friend group, or just with my friend group finding different places to hang out. Those are actual strategies, okay? An actual strategy would be I'm going to stop going to the club with my boys. And when I go out with them, I'm going to go out to places like during the day or that aren't the club. You know what I mean? Because clearly at the club, only bad things happen. Or I'm going to stop drinking. 99.9% of people are never going to stop drinking, so that's probably not going to be the solution. Or, I'm going to start hanging out with my other group of friends who are like tech guys, where rather than going to the club at night, we meet up, or my favorite car friends, they love cars. Rather than going to the club, we like to meet up with our cars, fix our cars, do stuff with our cars. I don't know, whatever. All right. And I'm going to be switching and hanging out with those friends more instead of my friends that love to go to the club. Those are actual solutions and courses of actions that will put him in a different environment and allow both of you to see a different result. Do you see, like, your mind should start moving and thinking, okay, I get it now, right? I get the type of intention and the type of action or plan and strategy a man will be coming with when he's serious about it versus when a man's not serious about making any sort of change, right? And you'll be able to sniff that out when a man is coming to you saying, oh, I want to be with you again. I want to spend time with you. I want us to work out. And then immediately after that, he says, but I don't think that anything needs to change. I just think that we need to recognize how much we love each other, and our love for each other is what's going to help our relationship survive. No, it's not. It's what's going to help your relationship be in the exact same place that it once was. Okay, there has to be a strategy and a course of action, and you want to be gauging his awareness of that, because you've pinpointed the problems, like I said before earlier in the strategy. You've pinpointed the problems. You know what the issues are. You know what the likely strategy is, but you're not going to be doing the work for him. Okay, so you're not going to be telling him this is your issue, that you went to the club and you were drinking, you were getting drunk with girls, and you were going out and da-da-da. So you need to change your friend group. You need to stop getting drunk. You need to stop going to, do not do that work for him. You let him come to his own realization so that he can show you that he's actually been thinking about what the necessary steps are to have a better relationship for you. If you do that work for him, you'll never have a clear understanding if he did that, if he came to that conclusion because he actually was trying to build a better relationship with you, or if it was just because you gave him that idea and you told him that's what you wanted to do, what you wanted him to do, right? Okay. Dragonfly says, do nothing, only care for you. It's very true. And like I said, you are in a position of power when he comes back to you. Okay. So you need to do even less than nothing, because he's came back to you begging to be with you once again. And if he's begging to be with you once again, there's literally no purpose to you doing anything. You don't need to. Okay. You really don't need to. And I never want you to forget that. Okay. Right. Kawhi says, I know it's hard for me right now. See, as you listen to the Players Club and you watch the show, it'll get easier and easier over time. OK, even if you don't have the courage right now, as you continue to hear my voice and watch and see my face, right, it will continue to become drilled into your mind and you'll never forget it. OK, so number one was to close your store. Number two was to pinpoint your problems. Number three, stay single. Number four, gauge his awareness. Now, number five, this is also really important, and I never, ever, 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 ever want you to forget this, because this will ruin everything that you've been doing. Okay? Number five, I want you to never, 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 never sacrifice. Okay? In a situation like this, when he comes back to you, I never want you to sacrifice or adjust your life for him. Until you guys are back in your full-blown official relationship, you do not do any adjusting for him, and you do not make any sacrifices for him. I.e., you do not take work off to see him. You do not rearrange your schedule to see him. You don't let go of plans with friends or family to be with him. Nothing. You make no sacrifices and no adjustments for him. I know this sounds very mean and very inconsiderate, but I want you to understand you need to be so mean and so hyperfixated on, look, you really need to show me something here if I'm going to recommit myself back to you. And you need to be of the mindset, I'm giving you absolutely nothing. I know that's painful for you, but I need to give you absolutely nothing so I can be sure that you're here for the right reasons and you actually have the drive and motivation to build this relationship into something amazing. Because if you don't have that drive and motivation, then you're here for the wrong reasons and you won't even be motivated enough to actually make changes or actually make adjustments necessary for our relationship. Okay. These are part of the things that you're doing. One, because you don't want to reinvest into a man that is not investing in you and not officially committed to you. And number two, because you need to be able to observe what are your actual intentions. Okay. Not what do I want your intentions to be, not what do I want you to feel or think or enact. Okay. I need to gauge and observe, how do you actually feel about me? How do you actually feel about this relationship? Not through your words, but through your actions. So you never, ever, 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 ever sacrifice anything for him while you're in the stage that he is coming back to you. You're in a position of power. You don't need to sacrifice anything. Don't adjust your schedule. Like I said, don't take off work. Don't do any sacrificing or adjusting for him. If he says, oh my God, I would love to see you. 'Cause this is the other thing. And I talked about this yesterday in the reasons why men will come back. Okay. Guys are going to come back to attempt to exercise their power and control over you. And a lot of times when they're exercising their power and control over you, they're going to try to make you move your body in that moment right then and there, because that is a display to himself. I know this sounds really horrible, but that's a display to himself that he can get you to move right now in this second, because he is that amazing. He's that awesome. He's that seductive and interesting and just, everything that you want, that as soon as he tells you he wants you right now in this second, that you will be there for him right now in this second. It's like being DoorDash. And we've talked about this plenty of times, why the worst thing you can be, absolutely worst thing you can be ever, is a DoorDash girl. You do not ever want to be a DoorDash girl where he feels like he can access you on his phone and you'll be readily available to him to show up at his door in 30 minutes or less. All he has to do is order you. You never want to be a DoorDash girl. As soon as he feels like you're a DoorDash girl, he'll never feel compelled to do anything for you, pay any attention to you if he doesn't feel the need for you right then in the second. The same thing with DoorDash. You're not going to open the DoorDash app and just start randomly scrolling through it when you don't need any food. You're not going to randomly scroll through the DoorDash app just because you're like, I wonder if they got that same pizza deal today. Nobody does that. And I say that to say it's the same thing with you. If you start becoming like DoorDash to him, and you start making it seem as if you'll drop everything in your life for him, especially when he comes back to you and he gets to exercise his power over you and get you to move your body, sacrifice right now. Hey, I said I want to see you right now. Hey, I told you that I miss you, and I told you this whole long story about how a voice spoke to me out of the air and told me how much we should be together and how we should see each other right now. And the voice also told me that you should take off your clothes and you should put your legs behind your head and spread them wide open for me, right? He's going to tell you that to try to convince you to move right now in the second. It's a display of his power and control over you. I know it sounds horrible, but let's just be so for real. That's what it is. And when he gets you to do that, he's getting you to sacrifice and drop anything that's important to you in that moment so that you'll come see him and tend to his every need and want. You don't need to be doing that, nor should you be doing that, because like I said, you're in the position of power when he comes back to you. You don't need to be doing anything for him. So for example, if he's telling you that, right? If he's telling you, hey, I want you to come over right now because the voice spoke to me from thin air and the voice was so strong in my mind and it told me that we miss each other so much, and I know that it's 3 a.m. and I know that I just left the club, but I know how badly I want to see you. He's probably going to add some sniffles and some tears into there, right? I want to see you so badly right now. And then when you, in terms of sacrificing, right? When you show up at his door, he's going to say, great, that was a display of my power. And I know I can get you to move and do whatever I want, whenever I want you to do it, even if it's 3 a.m., even if you have work in the morning, even if you're super tired. But what you need to be doing is you need to say, no, if you want to come back into my life and this voice spoke to you, how badly you want to be with me and how badly you want to be in this relationship with me, I have work tomorrow. The next day after that, I have a plan with my friends. And then the next day after that, I have a family function. So if the voice is speaking to you so loud and clear, and you know so badly that you want to be with me, then you can gladly wait for 3 days until I'm free. And then you can see me. We can spend some time with each other during the day, not at 3 a.m. when I actually have time, and you can plan and schedule me so that I can plan, right? Because I'm free at that time, and then I can actually be there. But if you're not going to be able to plan and schedule me, that's not what you want, that's not what you're interested in, perfectly fine. But I'm not going to get out of bed at 3 a.m. to come see you right now because a voice spoke to you. I don't care about the voice speaking to you. If the voice is speaking that strong, the voice can wait for 3 days. Because in reality, the voice that's actually speaking to him is not coming from up here. It's coming from down here in between his legs. Okay? The voice is very strong. The voice also has a lot of blood flow going to it right now. And the voice is rock solid. Okay? And in some cases, the voice is very small. That's the voice that's speaking to him. Let's just be so for real. And that's part of the reason why he wants you to get up and move right now. Don't sacrifice nothing. Don't sacrifice a damn thing. You don't need to. Okay? Let's see here. We got a super chat in from Thado. Thado says, hey, gorgeous ladies and Tom, listening and driving, missed the comment section. Well, yeah, you're missing out on a lot. You know the commenters, especially the really ones that participate a lot, like Ashley and Ivy. They're really funny, actually. They tell a lot of jokes. So they're awesome. Comment section is awesome. I love all you guys. So never sacrificing, very, very important, okay, to what you're doing, because you want to be showing him, look, this ain't play time, and I'm not going to be bending over backwards and forwards for some of you to make you happy and appease you. You're here back with me because you want to get back with me. So I don't need to do a damn thing for you, okay? Does that make sense? So number one was close your store. Close your store. Number two was to pinpoint your problems. Number three, you got to stay single, okay? Number four, gauge his awareness. Number five, you never sacrifice. And number six, I want you to set an internal time limit, okay? This is really important, okay? Listen up once again. Set an internal time limit for yourself, okay? Because this is the thing. When you get into these situations where a guy that you were once in a relationship with is now coming back to you and trying to build with you again to build a better relationship, okay? Cool, that's fine. Whatever. You want to build with me? Cool, awesome. The problem is, a lot of times, this process, it's a process, right? We're working back to get back to where we were, okay? This process can easily get strung out for a long period of time. And it especially gets strung out when you are offering him a lot of what he already wanted and was looking for from you without the commitment. That's when guys will say, I want this to stay exactly how it is. And I want this to continue being exactly how it is for as long as possible, because if I am getting what I want and I'm not giving a lot, if I have to give a lot, that's a lot of sacrifice on my part. I don't want to sacrifice a lot on my part. So guys are going to continue stringing this along, and they're going to continue, literally. It's going to be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And every time, right, he's going to say, yeah, we're working on getting back to where we were. You're going to be like, but we've been working on this for a month. No. It just, things aren't working out, and I got this and work, and you got work and life and this. And then 2 months, we're working on getting back to where we're still working on this. It's 2 months. I'm sleeping over at your house all the time, still cooking you dinner on all this good stuff. No, yeah, we're still working on getting back to, and then, when we work on these things, we just got a few things, and I got to get a new job, because when I get a new job, everything. And every single time, he's going to continue prolonging it and prolonging it and prolonging it, because he knows he already has the same access to you that he would if he was dating you. So why make any changes or switch this up when he knows he can actually sleep with other girls and entertain other girls? And he's actually being honest with other girls when he tells them he doesn't have a girlfriend. That's the craziest part. He doesn't even have to, even if he was a cheater, he doesn't even have to feel guilty about cheating, because you're not even in an official relationship. You're in a situationship, or in some confusing state. You're in it's complicated thing. Okay? Right? So you need to set a time limit. Now, this is the part. Okay. I really want you paying attention to this part. Okay. I want you, hands at your sides, not in your pants, paying attention. I do not want you to tell him of this time limit. Okay. I know this sounds very manipulative, but I want to give you a very clear strategy. I do not want you coming out and telling him you have exactly 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month to prove to me that you're ready to make a change. There's a very important reason for that. You do not want to give him valuable information that will make it easy for him to know exactly what to do, how to do it, and within what time frame to do it, so that he can get back the same access to you. Because then you won't be sure if he did it because he actually wanted to do it and because he actually wanted to better this relationship. You'll be left thinking that he did exactly what I wanted him to do because that's what he wanted to do, when in reality, he just did exactly what you wanted to do because he knew that was the way to get what's in between your legs, your squirtle. Guys aren't dumb, okay? And when you give them the playbook on how to get back in your good graces, they're gonna do exactly what is required of them to get back in your good graces. But this is not about, and I know some of you are thinking, but that's communication. That's letting someone know how you feel and what they need to work on and this and that. That sounds great in a Disney princess movie or in a teen drama. That's not the world that we live in. You have to understand, if you give guys the playbook and you give them the step-by-step on how to get back into your good graces, they are just going to do that. The problem is, after he does that and he extracts from you what he wanted from you, he can go back to doing what he was doing before, or he can just say, yeah, I only gave you that to get you back hooked on me. Now that you're back hooked on me, I'm just going to go back to doing what I was doing the entire time. Okay? Does that make sense? And I don't want that to happen to you. Okay? Where you're giving that guy the playbook and you're giving him the step-by-step and you're even telling him the time limit, and then he's knowing exactly what pace he should be moving at and exactly what he should be doing every step of the way. Remember, you're in a position of power. He's also asking something of you. Okay? And if he's asking something of you, then you get to say, show me what you got. Show me how many backflips and front flips you can do to prove to me that you're actually serious about this. So you set a time limit, and the time limit, I'll be honest with you, whatever you feel is appropriate. Do not make it more than a month. Okay? Do not make it more than a month. Other than that, make it whatever time limit you feel is appropriate. The reason I say don't make it more than a month is because if within a month you're not actually seeing like real changes, I'm not talking about, I didn't say words. If you're not seeing actionable changes in his behavior by 1 month, it's done. You cut that off completely. You don't talk to him ever again. You don't entertain anything that he says about, I miss you, I want to marry you, I want to make you my, it's done. It's done. Okay? So if in 1 month you have not seen any changes, or you've seen inconsistent changes, that could also be a thing, right? If you've seen that he makes a change for 1 day and then the next day, next week, he goes back to doing what he was doing, then he makes a change again for another day, then the next day, and it's constantly up and down, inconsistent, and this goes on for a month, done. It's done. It's done. Clearly, he's not serious about making the change or the adjustment, okay? So I want you to give it some time. But I want you to be clear that there actually is a change being made and implemented, not just it happens for one day, he's nice for one day, and then the next day it's back to the same thing. There actually has to be a pattern of behavior changed and actually have to be some sort of adjustment made through action, that you can see and be like, okay, I actually see that you're trying to make this work and you're trying to make a change because you actually mean what you're saying. This is why it's so important to observe, but I want to show you what you should be observing so you know what it is that you're looking for. Okay. And this is the part that will honestly be very frustrating to a lot of you because you'll realize once you set a time limit, you'll realize, damn, once I closed down my store and I didn't offer you anything, no type of girlfriend or wife treatment, and I just left you to see if you were actually intentional about this, I realized that you had no intention. I realized that it was all just word vomit. I realized that you didn't actually mean anything that you said. It's a painful realization, but honestly, it's a good realization because you'll realize you weren't actually serious about coming back to me or building anything real. You just wanted this to go on long enough for you to get your access to me once again for any number of the reasons that we mentioned in yesterday's show. And once you got your access to me, that was all you were looking for. You weren't actually looking to make a change to build something real and long lasting. It's a good realization for you to have early on and as quickly as possible because then you prevent yourself from wasting a whole bunch of time. You following what I'm saying? Okay. By the way, thank you so much in the YouTube chat to, there's not a proper name there. It's just a bunch of letters. We'll just call it RJ. RJ donated $2 in the YouTube chat and she says, thanks. Okay. Thank you so much, RJ. I appreciate your donation. Okay. Appreciate all of you. Right? So time limit, very important. Y3M says, any advice for long distance? My advice to you would be to not do long distance, truthfully and honestly. Unless that is someone you already built a relationship with and now it's long distance, my advice would be to not do long distance because 99% of you are in a long distance, not relationship, you're in a pen pal relationship where that person, you never see them, never speak to them, and you just continuously text message, call, FaceTime, but you never actually see each other in real life, and there's no real plan to see each other in real life. We've talked about that before. Don't get me mad. Okay? That's no hate, but a lot of times that's the actual situation a lot of you are in when you're in a long distance relationship. That's what majority of you are actually in. No hate. Okay. I just have to be real with you. So number one was close your store. Okay. Pinpoint your problems. Staying single. Number 3, gauge his awareness. Number 4, never sacrifice. Number 5, the time limit was number 6. And then number 7, this is a very funny one and interesting one. Number 7 is to avoid nostalgia. Okay. I know, hold on, because I know that it sounds weird when I say it and you're like, what does avoiding nostalgia have anything to do with the strategy when he comes back? This is the thing. I know that when I give you a strategy on what to do and how to go about this and what to look for, it's all great in theory. But I also know that us speaking logically on a Wednesday afternoon, and I'm sitting here in the screen in front of you, you're not in love with me. So yeah, it's very easy to think to yourself, this is exactly what I'm going to do and exactly how I'm going to do it because we talked about it and me and Tomisin talked about it. And when we talked about it, I knew what I was going to do. It's easy because you're not in love with me and you're not invested in me emotionally. When you get in front of the guy or you're in a situation where you're with the guy that you actually were invested in, you actually slept with, who was actually rearranging your guts, it's going to become a lot more difficult to actively say to yourself, okay, I'm going to stay rational here. I'm going to stay focused here. I'm going to stay logical here. So in the process of the strategy, I also need to be giving you information and knowledge on how to avoid putting yourself in a situation where you become emotionally weak. So avoiding nostalgia means, I know we talked about giving girlfriend treatment and we're giving wifey treatment. I also specifically want you to avoid doing things that you did when you were back in your relationship before this is established as being an official relationship, okay? I know this sounds really strange, but what's going to happen is when you do these things that give you nostalgia, It's going to make you feel emotionally like you're back in that relationship. And so what's going to happen naturally is you're going to begin to align your mind, body, and soul with everything you were thinking, feeling, and doing when you were in that a relationship. Your emotions are going to become aligned with who you were and how you were going about this relationship when you were in that relationship. Okay, it's going to make it very, very easy to fall prey to giving him girlfriend treatment once again, because it feels like you're in the same mode. You feel like you're in the same position. So for example, if you knew that when you guys were dating, you would go over to his house, you would sleep in his bed, you would sleep on this particular side, and you would always, while he was at work or whatever, you would come back from work, you would work from his place or work from home, whatever, and you would love to cook him spaghetti because that was his favorite meal, and you cook him spaghetti and stuff like that, and he loves spaghetti and meatballs. He slurps it like a little kid, got sauce all over his mouth. Okay, and that was your thing that you did, and you actually enjoyed being able to give him a plate of spaghetti. It made you feel good, right, when you were his girlfriend. I don't want you doing those things. On top of the fact it's already girlfriend treatment, those are part of the things that will give you nostalgia about the situation, that will make you feel like, oh, I loved when we would share these moments together. I love when we would eat spaghetti on a Saturday afternoon because we didn't have work. Or I love when I got the opportunity to go over and sleep in his place, and he has this weird smell at his place, and it's like so crazy. And when I sleep over on my side of the bed, he always cuddles. All of that stuff will make you super nostalgic about the relationship and make you emotionally weak, where you think to yourself, oh, I just want to be in this relationship again. I want to be his girlfriend again. And you'll forget the fact that he came back to you, meaning that he was the one that said, I want to be with you. I want to make this work with you. And because he came back to you in that scenario on bended knee, wanting to be with you, you have the power. Never forget that. You have the power. When you have the power, you don't need to do anything for him. But what you also should be very aware of, don't make yourself emotionally weak where you start thinking, before he has shown me that he wants to be in this relationship with me, I'm going to do the same things and invest myself back into him. Don't be doing that. That's why in the strategy, I want you to avoid nostalgia so that you don't become emotionally weak and fall victim to how you feel and that wave of emotion that hits you where you're thinking, damn, I really do miss when we used to do this thing, right? I think someone even said it earlier, don't be looking at pictures, don't be watching them videos and all that stuff that makes you feel like, I loved when we used to do this in this relationship. I just want to go right back to that, because you want to make sure that the guys coming back to you are starting from scratch. Okay. I know that you slept with him before. I know that you've been intimate with him before. You shared so many memories before. Okay. Right. But here's the thing is that when he comes back to you, you cannot allow him to feel like he's just going to be able to jump off from where he left it at. You have to make him feel like if you really want me and you're really serious about me, you're going to have to start brand new and work for me once again, like you did, hopefully like he did, to get in this relationship in the first place. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, do you guys have any questions about the 7 that we discussed today? Okay. So we had close your store, pinpoint your problems, staying single, gauge his awareness, never sacrifice, keep a time limit, and then avoid nostalgia. Okay. K11 says, do you tell him that though, about avoiding nostalgia? You don't. No, you don't. You don't tell him about the time limit. You don't tell him that you're never going to sacrifice. The only thing that you tell him in this, right? The only thing that you're going to be saying to him in terms of actually speaking to him is that you're single and you're going to be exploring other relationships until this is official. Okay. That's the only thing you tell him. And the reason you're telling him, it's a very strategic reason you're telling him, is because you want to light a fire under his butt where he feels like, oh, if I don't get to work making a difference and making a change, it will move on from me, because she's already basically kind of already moving on by dating other people. You don't actually have to be going on a bunch of dates and sleeping with a bunch of men. I actually don't advise you to do that. Okay. But what I want you to do is I want you to make him feel like there's a sense of urgency to get back to being in this official relationship with you. If he does not have a sense of urgency, he's not going to feel the need to make actual changes right now. And if he doesn't feel the need to make actual changes right now, then this is going to get strung along for so long and never actually materialize into anything real that you want in a relationship. Right? Alicia says, we as women, those really go through stuff with those stupid men who don't know what they want. I mean, yeah, you do, which is why we have the Players Club, so that we can help you not go through those things and have a little bit more clarity, okay? Real Life says, these steps are the best I've heard on the subject. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I hope that you guys are able to get value from that. Alexa says, do we have to say this face to face? I would. Okay. You guys know me. You should know me by now. Maybe you're new here, Alexis. You guys should always know whenever I refer to saying things to people, having conversations with them, getting an understanding of them, everything should be happening in person, in three-dimensional space where you can see them, feel their energy, read their body language, all that good stuff. Do not, I'm actually glad Alexis asked this. Do not, none of you, do not attempt to do any of this over the phone and over text message. None of this, okay? I know some of you addicts are looking to implement everything that I talk about by hopping on your phone and texting it. It does not work that way, okay? Do not be a phone addict thinking that you can do and utilize these strategies and they're gonna work how you think they're gonna work over the phone. There's a lot of energy exchanging. There's a lot of reading faces and body language. There's a lot of context that goes on when we are face to face with people. It's so much more powerful, and it's how we evolve to grow and connect. All right. So I say that to say you're never going to properly be able to impact people or do the things that you want to do or move them in the way you want to move them over text or over the phone. I just need to have you guys keep that in mind. Never, ever forget that. Okay. Right. Alexa says, so if he wants to see us, we say yes, just to tell him what we have to tell. So like I said, the only thing you're going to be discussing is that you're going to be single and that you're still single until this is official. That's the only thing you're telling him. Everything else is about your strategy on being able to observe. And in terms of if he asks you to hang out, you don't just blatantly say, I'm going to hang out with you when he asks you to hang. If he says, I want to hang out with you today, right now, or I want to hang out with you tomorrow. No, you're not free today and you're not free tomorrow. You have things to do. So he needs to wait a minimum of 3 days, schedule it in advance with you in order to see you. He doesn't just get to see you whenever he wants to see you and whenever he's free and available. It's when you're free and you're available on your time and your schedule. You keep your power in place, right? RJ says, I text because I like things in writing. Yes, I mean, that's good. It sounds good in theory, but in reality, when we're talking about moving and shaking people and making them feel things, you're never going to be able to really make someone feel something over text. I know it sounds amazing to be able to do that over text, but I promise you, you are way more impactful as a human being when you do things with people in person. That's when they'll actually be able to soak you in. Okay. Electric Field donates $20. Thank you so much, Electric Field. Electric Field says, what if, let me scroll up here. Electric Field says, what if he wants to be friends? I've always been your friend, but I don't want to be just your friend. What do you think about that response? If he wants to be friends, then you're wasting your time. Okay. I hate to, disappoint you, but if a man tells you that he wants to be friends, then that's a waste of your time to continue being in that relationship. Now, if he says, I've always been your friend, but I don't want to be just your friend, then that's a totally different saying than saying he wants to be friends. Okay. If he's saying that I want to be more than friends, then obviously he's implying that he wants the relationship to take a step further. So then you say, if you don't want to be, he doesn't want to be just your friend, and you say, okay, so then what do you want to be then? Let him lead. Okay, you don't say nothing. Let him lead. If you don't want to be just friends, what do you want to be then? If he can't be man enough to say, I want you and I want to be in a relationship with you, leave him. You can't do nothing with men who can't just come out and say, I want you. If he's too scared and too timid, oh, but I was hoping that you would just say it first. You say it first. You say you like me first. Come on. This is a grown man. You gotta be able to say, I sees you and I wants you. You're only looking for those type of men, and I'm not trying to help you attract insecure men who have such little self-esteem that they can't just say to you, I sees you and I wants you. Okay, nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Pursuing what he wants. Okay. Okay. With that being said, do you know what time it is? Do you know? Tell me in the chat. Do you know what time it is? Because I know some of you don't. And I want to make sure you know what time it is. It's an amazing time. It's a fun time. It's time to get to know me and all the members of the Players Club. So if I ask you what time it is and you look at your phone, you look at your watch, you look at the clock, Alexa says 11:17 p.m. Clearly Alexis is new here. Nothing wrong being new, but you'll learn today what time it really is. You gonna learn today, okay? Because Oh, I love doing that every time. I'm never going to stop doing that. So for those of you that hate that, I don't care. Okay. I love doing that. It's awesome. Okay. So let's hop into the Discord. Today, for those of you who are new, in the Discord, essentially, this is our Players Club Discord where all the members of the Players Club get to hop into the Discord and they share their stories of their situationships and their relationships in the Discord. And I give them advice live on the show along with the chat as well. Also, before we get started here, let me make sure I acknowledge our super chat from Ivy. Ivy donated a lot today. Thank you so much, Ivy. I really appreciate you. Ivy says, thanks for doing this topic so we accept a date and then have the talk. Yes, correct. You accept the date, but he has to schedule the date and then you have this talk in person. Don't be doing this stuff over the phone. Okay, so that's the order of stuff. You're learning. Ivy, you a smart cookie. I know you are. So you got this. Okay, so let's go down into the Discord. By the way, guys, if you want to submit your question into the Discord, maybe you're new here or you haven't got a chance to submit yours, you got a situation. If you're on TikTok, just go into the link in my description and then on my main profile. And then if you're on YouTube, just go down into the link in the description, or if you're live right now with me, just go into the pinned comment at the top, okay? And you can ask your question in the relationship advice section of the Discord, okay? Let me make sure that I got this, okay, right here. Okay, so this is in order of the date that they were posted. I believe this is the next one. Yeah, we did, Tina's was yesterday. I think I accidentally opened that one. Okay, so this is, no, that one was deleted. Okay. Next here, so here we have, starting off today is Alina, okay? So, Alina says, everything was great until it wasn't. All right, Alina. Hi, Tomisin, I'm your new subscriber. Welcome. Now I watch all your videos and take notes like a good student. I'm glad. Okay. Wish I found you earlier though, because I made a couple of mistakes and don't know if I can change the dynamic now. I hope, Alina, that you're here in the chat today. I would hope so. But I'm optimistic and remain hopeful. Me too. Anywho, I'm 25 and this guy is 27, and we've been dating for about a month now. Okay. And at first, everything was going perfect, or so it seemed. We met on a dating app. Usually doesn't end up perfect, but let's go on. And after our date, I didn't like him that much. Nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. I was still thinking about my ex and comparing this new guy to him. So that means that you have healing to do, okay? Because if you're going on new dates with new people and you're only able to think about your old relationship, that means you're not really over your old relationship. My first impression of him was that he's good looking, okay, respectful, kind, and a smart guy. But still, he was not what I was looking for exactly. I even wanted to ghost him after our first date, but he put my umbrella in his backpack so I wouldn't have to hold it. And I forgot to take it back. Oh, damn. So we had to meet again because of the umbrella. Was it really, if you really didn't like the date that much, was it really that serious? I mean, the umbrella is probably what, $25, $30? I don't know. Also, I talked about him with my mom and told her how our date went. She told me to continue talking to him and see how it goes. Yeah, I guess. I mean, advice from mom, but if you don't like him, then you don't like him. People can't convince you to like him. Anyways, so we continued talking. He texted me 24/7, called, FaceTime me every day, and I started liking him more and more. No, I think what you started liking is him pursuing you more and more. And that's what I think you're starting to like. Because there's a difference, and this is actually something I've learned from all of you. There's a difference because sometimes you guys like the guy and sometimes you like the pursuit from the guy. That's very different. Sometimes you guys don't even like the guy at all. You just like his pursuit. Then he asked me out on our second date. All this time, we talked about some serious stuff like our goals and how we view a perfect relationship, even marriage. Our goals were the same. We wanted to build a healthy relationship and have a happy marriage in the future. We discussed the roles in the relationship and how we'd solve some difficult situations and conflicts. This is great. This is great. Actually, this is amazing types of conversation to be having. This is way better than him telling you how beautiful your eyes are and how your dump truck just looks so amazing in your tight jeans and how he can't get enough of you and you're like everything he wants in his life. This is way more productive conversation. So that's good. We had a deep conversation in real life as well during phone calls, as during phone calls and text. Everything was great. The chemistry was amazing. I felt like a princess with him and I was finally happy. It feels like you're setting this up to go really downhill. I got real comfortable and made a mistake of letting my guard down. We kissed on our second date, so I felt like I got him. Okay, kissing's not a crime. You're an adult. It's all good. Kissing, I don't think is that big a deal. On our third date, he told me that he really wait, how old are you? 25. Okay. On our third date, he told me that he really likes me and I'm everything he wanted. Okay. Cool. That I'm perfect and he wants to love me and make me happy. Okay. It's getting a little bit suspect. Like, I get that he likes you, but he's laying it on a little bit thick here. This is the third date. But he's scared that he wouldn't be able to provide for me and give me everything I need. Important note, I make 4 times more money than he does. Wow. I think in the entire Players Club, I think that is the biggest disparity in income that we've ever had. 4 times the money that he does. That's insane. Is he working at McDonald's or are you just a CEO of a Fortune 500 company? What's going on here? It's one of the two. Since he changed his field and doesn't have much experience to make more money yet, but he's a hardworking man and does everything to change it. You're in a tough position now. This is a tough position for you. He also told me that he is exhausted and has to wake up at 4 a.m. every day to get to work. And since we live 2 hours away from each other, it makes it even more difficult to see each other often. I'm cringing because this is a tough situation that you're in. I was really confused and mad at the same time because I thought he's BSing and trying to find excuses to to not commit to me. So I just left. Let me tell you, he was running after me and begging me to give him a chance. This is good. You're in a position of power. He was telling me that he could fix it and make our relationship work. It's funny how men come to solutions when they really want to. He got me an Uber, and after I got home, I ignored his messages and calls for a couple hours. You a meanie. You a mean girl, Elena. Okay, I like it. He was texting me, begging me to give him a chance, telling me that he's scared of disappointment and stuff. So I didn't know better than being a good girl. Wait, what? I didn't know better than being a good girl and believe him. Okay. Okay. I gave him a chance and started supporting him. I told him that I don't care about money and we can make it work as long as he actually cares about me and wants to make it work. Okay. I'm not saying that you're lying. I just want to ask you, do you actually mean that? Okay. I know you said he's a hardworking man and everything, but if he does not have the, let's just say, skill set to ever get to a point where he's making equal or close to the amount of money that you're making, let's just say that his line of work is just never going to pay that much, then I know that you say you don't care, but are you truly willing to accept the idea that for the rest of your relationship, you will essentially be the breadwinner? I'm not saying that it's, a relationship can't work that way. And I'm not saying that you have a horrible relationship if that's your relationship, but I'm just asking you, are you truly prepared for that to be the rest of your life? Okay. This is assuming that he's not like working on a business or working on something that could actually generate him eventually more income than you make, right? Assuming this is how it's essentially going to be for the rest of your life. Is like, are you actually genuinely, like, deep down in your heart okay with that? If you are, that's fine. But if that makes you cringe, the idea of that for the rest of your life, you might have to do a little bit of reconsidering here. I started talking to him even more, texting him, even invited him over. It's fine. You like him. It's okay. By the way, he told me that we should not have pineapples until we're in a committed relationship. No, sorry, that clap was too fast. This is a slow clap. I can't. Wow. He really likes you. He really likes you, Alina. You must got that everything. I was gonna say that dump truck, but it's not just about your. You must got that everything. That personality. That you got to be 10 out of 10. Okay, because he's telling you let's not have, basically, okay, I don't know if you guys remember what I said about that quote about the dog and how, it's really disappointing for men essentially to sleep with a girl they really like on the first night. What he's basically saying is, I like you so much, I do not want to disappoint myself by sleeping with you. That way I won't be inspired and continuously motivated to make this relationship work. I think that what he's really saying by saying this is, I enjoy being so passionate about you and the relationship. I don't even want us to do something that would make me less passionate and motivated in this relationship. I think he's probably smart enough to recognize that and recognize how that could kind of subdue his passion, and he enjoys being passionate about you. And some guys really do, you know what I mean? Although we didn't have pineapples, we still did some pineapple-y stuff without going all the way. Okay. I'm mad, but at the same time, I'm not mad. Okay. Okay. Because I couldn't control myself. Oh, so this was a you thing. He had to stop me every time. I know I'm stupid and have no self-control. Boo. Boo. What? This is part of the reason why I told you all, you beautiful souls, go and get you that Tracy's dog sucking vibe that will change your life, that you don't have to go into your relationships or situationships the things that you're working on horned up And I know every time I say it, you guys think that I'm just joking and trying to be funny about it. But I'm so serious because just the same way when guys have blood flow to the lower extremities, they get horned up, they start thinking differently. The same thing happens to you. Of course, yours is not really just about being turned on physically by how someone physically looks. But as you begin to build an emotional connection with someone and build that emotional intimacy, your squirtle starts getting really lubricated. It's not a crime, but your squirtle starts getting really lubricated. You start building fantasies around that person. You start thinking about them more and more. And it gets you like, you go from a natural state of not being in an intimate relationship and you're not as horned up. But when you're building this emotional connection, you'll find that in your regular everyday life, you're more horned up because you're more stimulated now. And it's literally now, even when you're not with him, you're still horned up. And so the reason I say get you a toy to kind of fix that and solve that is because the more horned up you are and not getting any sort of release there, right? Even though it's an emotional buildup for you, like you're going to constantly feel like, oh my God, I really want you. I really want this to happen. I really want us to take it to the next level. And the closer you continue to feel to him, the stronger you feel the connection is, the stronger you feel the emotional intimacy is, the more you're going to become lubricated and it's going to feel uncontrollable. Okay. I'm telling you that, like, I'm trying to be so for real with you, not even trying to be funny. Why you need to do this so that you can, even if you have to go before you go out on dates, you orgasm multiple times if that's what you need to do. I'm actually being so for real, just so that you can go out on the date and you can have just a smidgen of a clearer mind and not be so, oh my God, when I look at you, I'm starting to tingle. You understand what I'm saying? When you're in that state, you're gonna be so emotionally weak where you can't make clear decisions. Okay. So after some time, he started withdrawing and telling me that he can't give me what I need. He's still kind of hurt after his breakup. This is an interesting twist. Where did this come from? It was 2 years ago. Oh my goodness. Where did that come from? How long was that relationship? And he has some mental trauma because of it. And basically he's not ready for a relationship with anyone yet. I mean, if that relationship was 5 years, then I can understand. But you didn't mention, this is very weird. He told me that I'm perfect, but he's not in the right place to be in a relationship because he has nothing to give. Seems like he was giving a lot. Since then, I became needy. I knew it. See, I knew that this was going to happen when you started saying that that you basically were starting to like him now that he was showing you more attention. Okay. When you said this, then he asked me out on our second date and you started to like it. You started liking him more. That tells me that you're not actually falling for him. You're falling for the fact that he is in such high and heavy pursuit for you. Okay. And you like that he's pursuing you really heavily because see, as soon as he says, I'm going to take a step back and I'm not going to be pursuing you as much, you become needy. He played the Uno, I think you might say Uno reverse card on me, and I don't know what to do. Is this even reversible now? To be honest with you, no. He's made it clear that he's not ready for a relationship with you. I told him we could just be friends until he's ready. If he's ready, see, you've now gone into the depths of despair where you're desperately trying to salvage this relationship and turn it into something and hold on to it for dear life. That man has already made it clear to you. And honestly, this is completely outside of your control. He's already made it clear to you that because of his past relationship, he's not in a mental space to be dating. He thought he was, right, in the process of building this relationship with you. But after a while, he realized he's just not in the mental space to be dating. Maybe he was thinking the same thing. I think you said at the beginning that you were thinking about your ex. Or sorry, no, maybe that was the one before. Okay. Sorry. And so he was probably thinking of his ex and he was realizing, damn, I'm really thinking about my old girl. I'm really comparing you to my last relationship. And he just couldn't get her off of his mind. And he realized this is unfair to you, so he needs to end this relationship because he knows that he's not in a position to be properly invested in you. Honestly, that's commendable, especially because he hadn't slept with you yet. Okay. And now you're in the depths of despair. Now you're feeling like you need to do something to salvage this. You being friends with him is not going to solve your situation, because at the end of the day, this is about him getting through and working through his last relationship, not continuing to have a situationship with you until he gets over it. That doesn't work like that. Okay. He agreed. Okay. This was a horrible idea for you. Of course he's going to agree. But this was you offered this, and this was a horrible idea for you. You're the only one that suffers. We saw each other a couple of times, and it seems difficult for us to stay friends. Of course it would. You just spent the last, I don't know how many months building a romantic relationship. I don't know, guys, I don't know where you guys get this idea that you can just go from being in a romantic relationship with someone to casually being friends as if it just like it's a light switch that you can turn on and off. Okay, your emotions are still there. Your feelings are still there. Why are you trying to build a friendship from something that is clearly you are trying to make a romantic relationship? Either both of you or one of you is going to be extremely frustrated. And on top of the fact you're extremely frustrated, not getting what you want, you'll never be able to actually build a real relationship with someone new because you're so still invested and attached to this other person. Because we liked each other. He tried to kiss me multiple times and then started to pull away. See, now you're in a confusion state. You've just went from him building something with you, building something serious and long lasting with you and being sure about you, to now you're friends who kind of try to kiss each other. Where did they do that at? What type of friendship is that? I don't think those type of friendships really exist in the regular world here. I don't think we'd call that a friendship, most of us. And finally, I found your channel and started ignoring him. I don't initiate any calls or texts. When he texts me, I take hours to respond. I honestly think you shouldn't respond at all. But I feel miserable in that moment and can't stop missing him. Even though I'm busy with my life and I can't stop thinking about him, I'm scared that he'll lose interest in me. See, I told you, I don't read this ahead of times, guys. But I knew the way you were talking, you like more his pursuit of you. So you're not at what you're more scared of than even more than losing him. You're more scared of losing his interest and pursuit of you. Okay? Because you love feeling so wanted by him when he pursues you heavily. So you said, what do I do? Please help. I honestly think the only thing left for you to do here is nothing. I know that when I say that, some of you might be like, do nothing. That's not a strategy. But that's the truth of the matter. When you're a woman, you're not in a position where you should be the one taking a whole bunch of action to try to show him that you want to be with him and show him how much you want him. None of that is going to do anything for you, especially in the situation that you're in, Alina, because he is the one who said, I have a situation with my ex that I'm not over, and until I get over that, I can't build a real relationship. So then you have to put your foot down and say, okay, until you are over your ex, you get no access to me. Why? Because then that actually forces him to say, okay, I don't get you whatsoever. I either get 100% of you by pursuing you and being the man you need, or I get none of you. And if I get none of you, well, damn, if I know I'm not ready to be in a relationship, let me do all the healing I can possibly do. Let me work on what I need to work on with. If it was closure was the issue, let me go and get my closure, right? You build a sense of urgency within men when you withdraw from them completely and say, you don't get access to me if you just want to be friends or want to be casual or want this to be something where you think that you're going to get access to me without actually having to be committed to me. Right? When you withdraw from men completely, you like that sense of urgency underneath him where he feels like, oh, if I really want you and I really want my access to you, I'm going to have to get this thing going and get on the move, which is good. That's the position you want men to be in. So for you, Alina, you have to do nothing so that you can allow him to say, if he really wants you, build up that sense of urgency and get to going on healing and working on the things that you need to work on so that you're no longer missing your ex, so that he can finally build this relationship with you. And even more sense of urgency because, hey, you might come back and I might already be in a new relationship. So let's see if that works out for you. Okay. You gotta let him cook and you gotta let him be the one to say, I'm ready now. There's no version of a relationship where you can force him to be ready earlier than he's ready. Okay, next we have here, let's see. Okay. Next we have here Silly Willy. I think we did a Silly Willy before, but I think this is Silly Willy's second time back asking in chat. So Silly Willy says, no compliments, okay? So the guy I've been dating for 3 weeks has been consistent with reaching out first on basis of every day to talk to each other every day. I've been on a trip for the last 2 weeks and he's still been this consistent. Good sign, but very dry over text with the exception of random calls that are not dry. The thing I'm concerned about is the fact that this man doesn't really compliment me or like my Instagram photos. Buckle up, chat. I'm going to get mad. Let's go on. That I've posted, but views and likes my stories. I'm going to get mad on this one. He also liked a bunch of my old photos when we first started talking. I know I'm going to get really mad. Anyways, I send him pictures of me that are hot and he will save them in Snapchat. We are not 30 yet. We're 23. I guess you're trying to say, yeah, I'm still young, so I still use Snapchat. And he will compliment the surroundings or the clothes, but never me. Okay. I want to attempt to be sensitive in terms of I understand that as a woman, it's important to feel wanted, be complimented, feel like your man really desires you and is interested in you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't want compliments. Okay, that's not a crime. However, there are a few things in the midst of what you just said that I feel are slightly problematic. Okay. The fact that you are putting so much onus on whether or not he likes your Instagram photos is concerning to me, because it makes me feel like you're more concerned with the perception of your relationship to the online world than you actually are the actual relationship. And it makes me feel as if you put more onus and importance on things that are on this cell phone than you do on the actual relationship. And the cell phone, the social media, and whether he's texting you or not, becomes your source of validation. Whenever the internet is your source of validation, whether it be in your relationships, your friendships, or just as an individual, you will always lose. Always lose. Why? Because you'll constantly be in competition with everyone else that you see on the internet. And you'll constantly be comparing your relationship to all the other relationships that you see on Instagram. Okay? I'm not going to go out and accuse you of that, but this is in that territory when you start talking like this. Because the reality of it is, him liking your Instagram photos or not does not necessarily mean that he doesn't find you attractive. So the idea that you're using that as a point to say he doesn't like my Instagram photos, so that's another issue on top of that, because if he found me attractive, he would like my Instagram photos. Not necessarily. Okay? And it's not that big of a deal whether he's liking your Instagram photos or not. You can still have an amazing, strong connection with someone, even if they're not liking your Instagram photos. I know when I'm talking about this in the chat, some of you are like, this is so silly. But honestly, I know that a lot of you struggle with this and put a lot of onus on this, which is why I'm addressing it. But the compliments thing, I can understand that, okay? Now, him complimenting the surroundings or your clothes, I mean, the clothes are on you. So if he says, oh my God, I like them jeans on you, girl, and the jeans are showing off your dump truck, I mean, obviously he doesn't just like the jeans if they're flat on the ground with nobody in them, okay? So like, I know, read between the lines a little bit. If he's complimenting your outfit, he's obviously complimenting you as well. You're wearing the outfit. But I get what you're saying. I know you said it's good when they are not too love bombing, but damn, give me some credit, dude. Anyways, he's successful himself and attractive, but I think in some ways I am more successful. Okay. Further in education, I have my bachelor's and he's still in school. I'm not sure what you're doing here. And I'm more attractive, I would say, than him. Okay. I have to address something that I don't like. I don't think that it's necessary to boost yourself up by putting someone else down. I know that this is supposed to be a guy that you're like building a relationship with. So you just finished saying that he doesn't compliment you and he doesn't tell you you look nice and all that stuff. Then you proceed to explain the multitude of ways in which you are essentially better than him. As if because you're better than him, he should be raining you with compliments and validation because of how much better than him you are. What it actually seems like is you believe that you're deserving of his validation. And you are so obsessed with whether or not you have his validation because you're, for whatever reason, slightly insecure about him or the relationship. Because I just don't see a reason why you would go on to talk to us about how you just basically said the reasons that you're better than him and the reasons why essentially he should be worshiping you and validating you and complimenting you like crazy because of how much better you are than him. I just don't like that. And I don't think that you're bringing the right mindset to the relationship if that's how you're thinking, because it's not meant to be a competition between you and your man. You're supposed to be bigging him up. Anyways, that's a side note. Maybe for some of you that doesn't make any sense. But on the other hand, he is playing D1 football. Okay. So you just finished talking about how the ways that you're better than him. But if he's playing D1 football, I don't know his skill level. But if he's playing D1 football, you do realize those are the people who are first in line to go to the NFL. He may or may not be good enough to make it to the NFL. But if he did make it to the NFL, he would be making a significant, substantial amount of money and be very successful, at which point it won't really matter how attractive he is when he's making over $1 million a year. Anyways, let's go on. I get the vibe that we're also, by the way, if he's playing D1 football, that's a full-time job. It's actually even more than a full-time job. Trust it from someone who played college football myself. So he's obviously not going to be able to have other things like work or a full-time job because he already has one. He's also likely on scholarship if he's playing D1 football. So he's getting his school paid for. When he gets out of school, he's going to have no debt. Anyways, I don't know why I'm ranting here, but it just kind of bothers me that you said that like that. And it's not like this guy's a bum. I get the vibe that he is used to. I get the vibe that he used to never get girls. Why do you get that vibe? Didn't have his first kiss until 19. Okay. And now he is just getting attention. I'm confused though. Why are you continuously talking down on him, but then you're talking about how he never compliments you? Maybe he is trying to humble me because he thinks I get too much attention. That's the conclusion you came to? I'm literally only talking to him. So is it a good sign he's not love bombing me with compliments and such, or is he insecure? Help. I don't think anything, Silly Willy, I don't think anything you described here really shows me or makes me think that he's insecure about anything. To be honest with you, and if I'm actually going to help you, I have to be real with you. It actually sounds more like you're the one that's insecure, because all he's doing is living his life, playing his D1 football, trying to get to wherever he's trying to go, and you're the one that's bothered that he's not complimenting you all over the place, telling you how beautiful and amazing you are, and making you feel good about yourself. So then my question becomes, and this is an honest question, why do you feel like you can't feel good about yourself unless he is complimenting you? I mean, if you guys are going out, first of all, it's only been 3 weeks, right? But let's go ahead and assume, right, throughout the time period that you guys have been talking, he's been fairly intentional with you and things have been going well in terms of that, going out on dates, seeing him in person, things are going well, right? Why do you feel like why do you feel unhappy in the relationship if you don't feel a sense of validation from him talking about how beautiful you are? If you just finished saying how you're more attractive than him, why do you need him to tell you all the ways you're so attractive if you already believe that to be true? I'm not saying that you shouldn't want compliments from the guy that you're dating or the guy that you're with, But for you to say how he doesn't compliment you and then go on to say how you're so much more better than him, as if to imply that that's the reason he should be complimenting you, I just feel like it's very misguided energy. And I feel like that only really comes from an insecure place, because if you were truly secure, it wouldn't matter to you whether or not he believes that you're beautiful. Clearly, he believes you're attractive because he's obviously trying to build a relationship with you. Let's just be so for real. So I don't think that it's actually that you really think he doesn't find you attractive. You just want him to validate you by complimenting you more than he has been, or in different ways than he has been, in a more slightly intense way. To which I'll say, if that's what you want, I mean, I guess that's not a crime that you want more compliments, but I also want you to be thinking about, what is the quality of my real relationship with him? Does him only complimenting my clothes or other things other than just, saying that I'm the most beautiful girl on earth, is that actually making me have a worse relationship? Like, do I actually have a worse relationship because he doesn't compliment me in every which way and compliment my body? Or is my relationship with him still good despite the fact he's not love bombing me, and despite the fact he's not saying, oh my God, you're the best thing since sliced bread? Okay, you have to ask yourself that question and then make a decision. This is honestly your own decision, something that you have to decide. Am I willing to deal with this in terms of, am I willing to be in a relationship where my guy doesn't really, compliment me a whole bunch and do a whole bunch of, bigging me up to me? Or is this something that I know I can't stand and I'm never going to be able to deal with? In which case, then you have to say, I'm not looking for the type of relationship that he's looking for. And you got to part ways and go find the type of guy that will give you the compliments that you want. So I know you asked me the question, but the choice is really yours, because this is really a preference of what you would rather and what is most important to you. Okay. Next here, let's see who we got next. Scroll. Let's see. So next we have Melina. Okay. Melina says, so I got into an argument with my boyfriend's twin, and in the heat of the argument, my boyfriend's twin. I just realized what you said. You're probably really confused. Did you even know that was the twin at the time? And in the heat of the argument, I just got up from the table and left. My boyfriend followed me on my way home. Are you sure that was the boyfriend or not the twin? I'm just playing. And tried calming me down, but affected my feelings. I told him that it was a very bad situation for me to be in, and I can't be in a relationship with him and his brother if me and his brother are not on good terms. I mean, yeah, it's his twin, so definitely you got to be cool with his twin. That's for sure. I said some hurtful words to him while angry, even though it wasn't his fault. Oh, like your man? Ugh. He told me he wanted to make things up before he went on vacation for a week, but I left him on red and didn't answer his calls. Why are you punishing your boyfriend for an issue that you have with his brother? I don't know. It's a bit unfair. The next day, I know this may sound selfish, but I hoped he would call and text again, but he didn't. You kind of shut him down, and he didn't even do anything. He tried to remedy the situation multiple times, and he's not the one that you're angry at. That's I have to be honest with you. That's quite a bit unfair, because you were uncomfortable. He tried to make you comfortable again, and he tried to ease your anxiety and try to help the situation. You did not seem willing to come up with any solutions or work on the situation. Even when he reached out to you, you didn't answer. And now you expected, okay. This is something that I tell to other people as well. You have to be responsible for your own feelings and emotions. So if you're hurt by something and you need a situation fixed, and your man comes to you and says, okay, I understand you're hurt and upset. How can I make this better? Or what can we do to help you? And you just don't say anything, nothing, I'm not bothered, there's no solution, whatever, I don't care, whatever. And you're hoping that he'll continue asking you over and over again, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong? And you're like, oh, well, I didn't tell you on the third time you asked, but I was going to tell you if you asked me 15 times. You have to be an adult, responsible for your own feelings and emotions, and then be responsible enough to communicate that to people. And if you shut people out, you can't be surprised when people move on. Just saying, okay? After 3 days, he did call, right, again, and I answered calmly. He told me to go out when he comes from his vacation, but I said no. Like, he asked you to go out, okay? So he asked you to go out when he comes back after calling you when you didn't answer, and then he called you again, and then he asked you to go out so you guys can speak in person, and you said no. Chat, who do you think's the problem so far? The next day he texted me like nothing happened, and I said to him, "Did you forget that we broke up?" Wait. So this was an actual breakup. Because you said you didn't think you could be in a relationship with him. So that was actually the breakup. So now you were expecting him to call you multiple times and you guys were broken up now. Did you forget that we broke up, you said? I didn't like how he was so comfortable texting me like that. What? He asked you to go out when he comes back from his vacation, probably to fix things or work on things, knowing that maybe the situation can be remedied. Maybe he thought that you weren't that upset or something could be worked on. And you said, did you forget that we broke up? Because you didn't want him to feel comfortable texting you like that. If you're done with the situation, then be done with the situation. First of all, your boyfriend isn't even the person that did anything to you. I'm not sure why all of this anger is directed towards him. Anyways, after 3 more days of no contact, I texted him for an important matter and he answered coldly. So I tried withdrawing after he chased me for a bit. I told him I would tell him later. This actually gets me really upset because you're acting like a child. I just have to be so real with you, Melina. You said that the situation was important, right? It was super important, right? But then after he answered coldly, right? Meaning he wasn't waiting on you hand and knee. Remember, this isn't your boyfriend anymore. He wasn't waiting on you hand and knee watching paint dry for you to message. And because he wasn't waiting for you like that and he wasn't super ecstatic over the moon to hear from you, you chose to not tell him and to tell him later after he chases you for a bit. So clearly the situation wasn't that important, because if it was, you would have just told him regardless of how he answered the phone. Anyways, let's go on. I called him later, and when he didn't answer on the first call, I removed him from my social media. Are you for real? Are you joking? Are you joking? This is childish on levels I can't even fathom. If you are done with this guy and you don't want to be, Melina, listen, look in my eyes. Let's get something very straight. If you are done with this man and you don't want to be in a relationship with him anymore, that's perfectly fine. Do not reach out to him for any reason whatsoever. Don't answer any of his calls. Let this whole relationship go. Stop doing this silly thing, calling him back and forth, hoping that he'll continue chasing after you. If you just want to be chased so that he can prove to you how interested he is in you, just go back to being in a relationship with him. Because you're punishing him for something that his brother did to you. A fight that you had with his brother. Stop punishing him for something he didn't even do to you. And if you know that you're open to getting back into this relationship with him, then just be in a relationship with him. Stop punishing him in a way where he is confused, because he's done a lot of reaching out. He's done a lot of calling. He's done a lot of massaging and trying to help this situation and remedy the situation. All you've done is made it more difficult, more frustrating, and more confusing. And you're like, I don't know what issue that you have, you're on some sort of high horse where you feel like if you do anything towards him and he's not immediately appreciative of it, or like on his hands and knees and ready to like be at your becking call, that you feel like he's absolutely useless to you. It makes me feel like you don't actually even like the guy. You just want to have so much power over him that he gives you whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want it. Okay? It sounds more like you're utilizing him because you know you have power over him. And if you can't exercise your power over him, then you're frustrated because you call him and he doesn't answer on the first call and you remove him off your social media. That is unbelievably childish. Unbelievably childish. Do you have any idea all the different things he could be doing with his life that could be the reason why he doesn't answer you your first call? He's not allowed to have any sort of life outside of you that requires him to not be able to answer his phone. He can't do anything with his family, his brother, his friend. Like he can't do anything in his life except to just be waiting for you to reach out to him. When he's not even your boyfriend and he owes you nothing. You have some crazy entitlement going on. Crazy entitlement. And then he texted me telling me he didn't hear the phone and all that, and that we kind of got into an argument. He doesn't owe you anything. He's not your boyfriend. Okay? I'm sorry. I know that you guys reach out to me to send me messages and, you know, you watch the show and stuff. So you're thinking I'm going to be super nice to you, super friendly with you. But the reality of it is I can't help any of you if I'm not real with you. You have a lot of entitlement, Melina, and entitlement to a man who's not even your boyfriend. And on top of that, to a man who didn't even do anything to you. Punish his brother, but you're punishing him for no reason. He told me he loved me and blah, 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 but I still tried to be cold. Why? He hasn't done anything to you. And that he didn't have the privilege to be sweet, to sweet talk me. Why? He has not done anything to you. After he told me he comes on Friday and I was going to sleep, we said goodnight. So should I go out with him tomorrow? And if he says yes, how should I behave? You should behave not like an entitled brat. That's how you should behave. And honestly, truthfully, before you even agree to going out with him, you should first decide for yourself, do you either want to be in a relationship with him or not? Because if you do, then go out with him and stop confusing him. Actually try to work on the issues and build the relationship. If you aren't interested in being in a relationship with him, don't even say yes. Because you're confusing him and eventually he's going to get sick of the confusion and he's going to move on. Update. So, because obviously I didn't answer this. So update now. I got back with him after he came back from vacation, but he doesn't seem to put much effort on our dates anymore. Like he's not planning anything. He just wants to meet. One time he asked to come see me at 11:30 p.m. after his shift when I take my dog for a walk. I declined, of course, but I want him to put in the same effort as he did before, maybe even more. And I don't know if I can do that. Help. Honestly, to be super real with you, Melina, situation's probably lost. You probably wasted so much time confusing him and frustrating him by, punishing him for a situation that you had with his brother, that he probably eventually got sick of putting in all of that effort that he was. Because remember, before you're talking about this, while he was on vacation, he was doing everything he can to call you, check up on you, make sure you're good. And all you could do is nothing. And be mean to him, be rude to him, and expect him to do absolutely even more, even though he's not your boyfriend. What probably happened is he got sick of putting in all the effort, and he got sick of trying to do the most without getting anywhere, right? You're not even showing him like he's interested. On top of the fact, he probably started realizing I'm doing all this for someone who I didn't even do anything to. It'd be different if he was being treated like this because you and him had this huge fight and this huge falling out. But you and his brother had this huge fight. I get that it's his brother, but you're punishing him for the situation. So he probably came to the conclusion, why am I begging to be with a girl who is punishing me for a situation that had nothing to do with me? So he could be using this as a revenge plot, or he could just be saying, honestly, I don't care enough to continue pursuing you, right? I'll just put in minimal effort because when I was putting in effort and trying to be the best boyfriend that I can, all you did was pull down your pants and take a nice, hot, heaping dump on me. So, Melina, if you actually want me to help you, what I'm going to say to you is you need to fix this entitlement that you have. And whatever anger issues that you have or situation that you have with his brother, deal with that situation with his brother, not with him. Okay? And stop punishing him for things that someone else did to you. Okay? And start expressing, because this is your boyfriend, so communication is important here. Start expressing your problem and trying to figure out solutions rather than just creating more problems. Because throughout this entire message, I haven't seen you be interested in helping him and your relationship in creating more solutions. I've only seen you be interested in creating more problems. That's a problem. Okay? Melina, so I'm going to be honest with you. From what you have told me, I'm sure he's not perfect, but I actually think the focus needs to be back on you and the things that you need to work on, not on him. Okay. All right, guys, that is the show for today. If you didn't get your question answered, I hope that you continue to join me for future shows, because rest assured, I will answer questions after every single show that we have as part of the show. Okay. So I'm here Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and you can catch me anytime during the week. I'll be answering questions. And if you didn't get a chance to send in your question, make sure if you're on TikTok, you go over to the link in the description on my bio, and you ask your question in the relationship advice section, non-general chat. And then if you're on YouTube, just go down into the link in the description where you can ask your question there as well. For those of you who love me so much, I am right up there on Instagram. So that's my Instagram. For those of you who are on TikTok, you can see my Instagram there. You can follow me on Instagram, scroll through my Instagram, see everything I've been doing up until this point, and see how I came on this chair and mic in front of you today. Okay. And for those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, you're on YouTube, it's right down there on the bottom right as well. I'm going to tomorrow, I'll put a PayPal link in my description on YouTube, because I know some of you guys like donating just in general for different things, and you want to show your things. So I'll definitely put a PayPal link in there tomorrow as well for those of you who want to donate. And as well, if you're on TikTok and you didn't get a chance to see all the things that I talked about in the show and you want to rewatch it, don't fret, don't worry. The show is also available on my YouTube, which is right above my head on the right side of the screen. You just type in my name, or you can screenshot this and copy and paste my name on YouTube. You'll find my YouTube, then you go over to the live section. You'll find this episode along with all the previous live shows that I've ever done in the past on all these different relationship topics. And you'll be able to watch them in their entirety with the YouTube chat and the TikTok chat embedded in the video. So you'll get all the amazing context. All right. So until we meet again, like I said, I'm here every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Until we meet again, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, goodbye for now, and adios. And I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp. I love you so much. So much.